Or should I say Chinada? That's a term that we coined here 10 years ago on the channel. Chinada. This is from the Toronto Sun. Foreign interference goes far beyond federal election. Does anyone seriously believe foreign interference is confined to federal level of government and only during elections? There it is right there, Trinica. There's Trinica and Winnie the Pooh there, shaking hands and laughing and smiling. Look at the smirk on this guy's face. Anyways, we don't have to read the article because we could read our article here on our channel. Canada needs more Chinese to cure economic woes. CCP launder your money here 3 years ago. Canada under attack. The Great Canadian Takeover. CCP money laundering. Rest in peace, middle class. 7 years ago. My opinion, this is nuts. Chinese are parking their money like crazy. They're bidding up junk homes so fast that Canadian proper can't compete. At this rate, Canada won't exist by... Oh, man. By what? Well, I will look at that later. Canada won't exist by what? 2025? What was it? 2022? Chinese unloading big assets in Canada. Canada wants more Chinese, 500,000 per year to help our ailing housing market. CCP takeover. Canadians need to compete with offshore money laundering. CCP $1.1 million starter family teardown home. Chinese money laundering is destroying Canada. Canadian middle class is finished. CCP Chinada. Chinese buying up gold mine. CCP takeover of Canada. CCP money laundering destroying home and affordability in Canada. Worst in almost 30 years. Exodus ahead 6 years ago. So, Canadian middle class going broke due to CCP takeover. Tent for rent in Vancouver, $700 per month. It just doesn't end. So it's something we've been very vocal about on this channel, and how basically in 2010, with the Vancouver model, allowing predominantly Chinese, no one else, Chinese, to come in, park their money, and basically, destroy the middle class. That's why we have these artificial shortages. And here we go. Canada added 58,000 workers but lost 2,000 jobs last month. 58,000, what is this, public sector? The only growth more impressive than Canada's population is its surging unemployment. Data shows that the economy stumbled in March. It was such a minor decline, it wouldn't be worth noting it for the population growth. The country only lost a couple of thousand jobs but managed to add tens of thousands unemployed people to its labor force. Canada added 26 workers for every job it lost last month. Canada's rapid population boom of prime age workers helped its labor force expand rapidly. Now, prime age worker force, because Canadians haven't been having children because they can't afford to, because they can't keep up with the money laundering, and they can't keep up with the artificial shortages. So it's basically disenfranchised people from starting families. The country added 57.7 thousand workers, a grand total of 21.72 million in March. Unfortunately, the economy also lost 2,200 jobs over the same month. More bluntly put, one job was lost for every 26 workers added in the March. Very unusual combination. The working population growing much faster than job creation has become a trend. Over the past 12 months, the country added 571,000 workers, but only 324,000 jobs. That's a shortfall of 249,000 jobs, pushing the number of unemployed people in Canada to 1.32 million. So unemployment rate soars as Canada struggles to create jobs. So speaking of unemployment, people, the rate has now climbed very sharply since its record low. The unemployment rose to 0.3 points to 6.1% in March, about 1 point higher than last year. It is now the highest level since January 2022, and the rate is now higher than per 2020. So instead, people are attracted to the stagnant economy in such a large volume. It has an inflationary impact on shelter, an impact that's so great, shelter costs are eroding the general output on per capita basis. So there's your summary of that, and people just can't afford to live. Canada's National Housing Agency forecasts a 20% jump for home prices. So now they're forecasting a 20%. So that teardown down the street for me in my town with 2 stoplights will be over $1 million. A town with 2 stoplights will be over $1 million. Yes, you heard it right here. And 20% jump for home prices. Canadian home prices forecast a surge of 20% over 2 years. CMHC sees existing home prices ripping higher as interest rates are cut by the end of this year. They expect the average sale price to rise to $711,000, advancing to 4.9 from last year. Explosive growth forecast for 2025, 9.5%, seen moderating in 2026 to 4.6%. Their baseline forecast has an average existing home fetching $814,000 by 2026, or 20% higher than last year. Most of the activity is forecasted to occur in smaller, more affordable cities. So when you see those prices, $711,000, that's in small places like where I live, 2 stoplights, a 2 stoplight town. This isn't like big cities. Big cities, a house is a couple of $1 million in Canada. Because we started on the money laundering a lot earlier than the Americans did, because they waited for Biden to get selected, and then once Biden got selected, then Amerifornia kicked off, right? And yeah, I wanted to bring these. So housing to go up in Canada, that is destructive. Well, people will say to me, Mike, you have a house. Shut up. You should be lucky. I'm 47. 47, 57, 60. I probably won't be alive in 20 years. There's a very good chance I will not be alive. What are my kids going to do? Like, what? Yeah, I'll leave them at home, but what I mean, what are my kids going to do? Do they just automatically become homeless out of high school? Like what people don't understand the long-term ramifications of this problem. And I've been warning about it for friggin' 14, 15 years now. This is a major problem. And if you can't afford to buy shelter in a country that you were educated, raised in, and know the country inside out, and you can't afford to buy property, I'm not saying free housing, afford to buy a house through your wages, it's game over, man. You don't have an economy anymore. If a middle-class citizen can't get into real estate in their own country, in small towns with 2 stoplights, you don't have an economy anymore. Plain and simple, you don't have an economy.